Hello and welcome into Rebecca K Crochet. This is Becky, your yarn host, and today I have a buy that I got, and I was looking for this yarn. I thought it was really pretty. This is Bernat Yarnspirations Bernat blanket yarn, perfect phasing. I got this at Ollie's, at my local Ollie's. They finally got yarn in for $4.99, and I'm going to make a blanket out of this. This is 220 yards, 300 grams, and it is machine washable and dryable. It is a super bulky size 6. It requires an 8mm hook. The color is deep teal, and the pattern shows a ripple blanket on it. And I thought about doing this blanket, except for it is in knit, and I do not want to knit right now. I do know how to knit. I'm just not wanting to knit, but I think that is a gorgeous blanket. But what I have been doing is I've been doing a new stitch that you guys haven't seen yet. And what this is, you can't really tell on here, but this is a linked double crochet. So there are no holes, and what I was going to show you is that if you do a regular double crochet with this yarn, because it is so super bulky, when you do a double crochet like normal, and you have to fill, so I'm not going to show you how to do this stitch with this yarn, but I'll show you a different yarn. But whenever you do see, this is the linked double crochet. This is the double crochet that I just did. I can poke my finger through it, which means toes or anything will poke through this yarn. But over here, I can't, because I linked them together. And let me show you how I did this. Now, I will tell you that with this yarn, I am using and I don't think you can see it, 10mm crochet hook. And it calls for an 8, but since I crochet tight, I went up a couple of sizes because this yarn is super bulky, and I wanted it to be a little bit loose and floppy, but I did not want the holes. So that's why I went up to 2 yarn sizes. Now, this is just for demonstration purposes. Okay, I am not quite done with it. I'm halfway done. This is 3 cakes of the yarn, and what I have done is I started it down here with the dark color. I started in the middle with the dark color down here, which y'all saw in the beginning, and then it gradually goes to this lighter color, almost white, and then right here I went to the outside, and I started it with the outside. It went back to the dark, and then right here I started with the dark color and went, you can probably tell right here that this is where I changed, and went from the dark color back to the light color, and I'm working on the light color. So in order to make this blanket, what you need to do is I chained 95, and then you start. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to start with your blanket yarn, which is like this. I started with the inside, worked out, and then I went from the outside, worked my way in, and then the inside, and worked my way out. So if I started with a dark, finished with the light, then I start with the light, finish with the dark, then I start with the dark and finish with the light, all the way up. So with the blanket yarn, to get the size of blanket that I have, which is roughly 6 foot, it's like 63 inches wide, to get that I chained 95 stitches, but I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to chain 10, 12, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, what you're going to do is you're not going to yarn over to do a double crochet. You're going to go into this stitch, pull up a loop, and then you're going to go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, then you're going to go through 2 and pull through 2. And that's your first stitch. Then you're going to start, you're not going to work into, get a needle here, you're not going to work into this stitch right here. You're going to work into this bar that goes straight up. There's a reason why we don't work, you can work into this stitch, it's going to give you a different look than working into this bar. If you work into this bar, it's going to look just like a double crochet. If you work into this one, it's going to look like a single crochet or 2 single crochets. So we're going to work to make it look like a double crochet. We're going to work into this bar that goes straight up. So we're going to go into that bar. We're going to pull up a loop. Then we're going to go to the next stitch and we're going to pull up a loop. And then we're going to do our double crochet, pull through 2, pull through 2. Again, we're going to go through that front bar, pull up a loop, go through the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Do that bar again, pull up a loop, the next stitch, pull up a loop, whoops, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. You can do this with any double crochet that you don't want to have a hole. And here's what happens. I showed you on the bigger one, but also on this one, if I just do a regular double crochet, even with these stitches, with, you know, this is just a 4 worsted weight yarn, you can't poke your fingers through because you're linked at the bottom. But this one, because this is a plain double crochet, I can. And that's, and see, it looks, these look just like a double crochet. But if I go through that other bar, let me show you going through this other bar. So if I go through this bar, right, instead of going through this first bar, I go through this bar that goes sideways and pull up a loop, and then go through the next one and pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and I do that again, pull up a loop. You'll see the difference. Pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. They're both single crochet, they're both double crochet, linked double crochets. It's just the different bars that you're doing. So if you want to go through that bar, you're going to have, it's going to look like single crochets. See how these 3 look like a single crochet and a single crochet? This one over here just looks like double crochets without that bar, which makes it look like a single crochet right here. So that's why I went through that bar going up and down, and not that's why I went through the bar going up and down and not going across on the diagonal, because I didn't want it to look like single crochets. I wanted it to look like double crochets. So again, you go through that bar that's up and down, not this one, but this leg right here. And that's how you do the stitch. Now whenever you get to the end, the only thing that I did at the end, because I'll show you here, hang on, I'm almost there. How I did the end was a little bit different, because you're starting out with a double crochet and it's really easy to miss stitches or add stitches on with this stitch. So how I did it was I just chained 1, turned my work, I went back into that chain that I did, pulled up a loop, and then went back into the same stitch, pulled up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. And there you have your first stitch, and then you just do it all over again. And it just lays really nice and flat, right there. You don't have a big gap or anything like that. So that's how I did the blanket. And so 1 cake of yarn for the blanket. One of these is going to give you, if you do it the size I do, which is roughly 63 inches across or wide, and 1 whole cake of this was 13 inches. So in order for me to have a 6.5 foot blanket, which is how big I want it, because it's going to be for me, for a 6.5 foot blanket, I'm going to need roughly 6 cakes of blanket yarn, of this specific blanket yarn, the Bernat blanket perfect phasing blanket yarn. And that's what I bought, was 6. So I'm good. I'll have my whole entire blanket. It'll be about 6.5 feet. I'm just going to do each cake until it's finished. Like I said, I've already got 3 on there, and I am working on getting ready to start my 4th one. And I was almost done. I almost made it. And then I'll come back and put a different thumbnail whenever I get the blanket finished. I'm going to try to get it finished this weekend. But canning's getting in the way right now. So anyway, that is the tutorial for today. I hope you like and subscribe and share it with a friend. And that's your new stitch and the blanket that I'm working on. So y'all have a great rest of your day.